Hello and welcome to the first ever episode of Under the Brolly, the MyUmbrella podcast in partnership with ShoutOut Radio.
My name's Tom.
And I'm Steve.
And you may have listened to our previous pilot episode about what we do and what this podcast is about. And starting from next month, we're going to be exploring all the A to Z of LGBT plus sexualities, identities, genders, fetishes and kinks. And in this episode, we want to talk a bit more about why there's so many.
Yeah, the pilot episode itself was thrown together very quickly, but I think it sounded pretty good.
I don't think anyone noticed.
I don't think anyone noticed either, actually. We've got loads to update you on in terms of where we've come from and what we've done so far. So you've heard us in the pilot episode, you've heard about who we are and what we do, you've heard a bit about what MyUmbrella do. So I suppose it's only right so you know about what we do for MyUmbrella. So my role with MyUmbrella is that I look after the funding, I look after the sponsorship, I also look after stock and the merchandise. But at the same time, I'm also out on the road with the MyUmbrella team at every single event we can possibly get to get essentially the word on the street and find out more about what goes on at all the different Pride events to help and support people that fall under the umbrella of the lesser known LGBT plus sexualities, identities, genders, kinks, fetishes and everything else on top.
And my role with MyUmbrella is that I provide the kind of research side of things. So if there's any kind of new identity or flag that's cropping up, or if there's areas which people feel like needs to have more research into, then that'll be my role. And also if we are going to be doing any kind of written stuff, bringing together information that we find online or from the community, then I'll find the person to coordinate it together. So a lot of what we do with MyUmbrella is about informing people and spreading the awareness and the word of the community. So with other people in our team, that's what we do.
Absolutely. It's not just us either. There's loads of other people that get involved. We quick shout out just to some people that essentially if it wasn't for them we wouldn't be here and we wouldn't be able to possibly make this. So we'd like to shout out very quickly to Christina and Kerry, who are our two founders who kicked everything else off with MyUmbrella, and also Mikey Russell, who essentially is the one that keeps us all trying to follow the rules, but not necessarily getting fairly close to that, who is also one of the Reading Pride trustees. As you heard in our pilot episode and possibly from our promo as well, MyUmbrella itself was formed by Reading Pride, based in Berkshire, for the lesser known sexualities, identities, genders, etc. And essentially if it wasn't for them then we wouldn't be here today. But we are based all across the south of the UK, so we essentially will get to as many prides and as many different events as possible, right the way along the M4 corridor. So just because you think that we are a charity based out of Reading, we're supported by Reading Pride, but we cover so many other areas on top.
And one of the most popular parts of what we do is bringing together all different flags for the different identities and sexualities. So before we start next month by going into some of those identities, we thought it'd be quite good to explain a bit more what they're about and why we've got so many. So Steve, why are there so many identities?
Well, in the job that we do and the roles that we do when we're out on the road, a lot of people ask us a lot of questions about essentially all the different flags and all the different identities and why there has to be so many. And the reason why there are so many identities out there is because essentially there are so many different people that fall under essentially that umbrella. And there are so many different possibilities where other identities cross over with other orientations, with other sexualities, with other genders, with other kinks, with other fetishes. And the thing to remember with this is it's not about putting people in boxes. The whole reason why there are identities out there and orientations is so that people feel like they can belong. And not only do they belong to something, but it means that they've got something to hold on to that makes them feel valid. The fact that you can be validated, the fact that you can move away from feeling as though you don't belong, and the fact that you can feel as though you're not broken and that there is nothing wrong with you apart from the fact that you are a human being is a massive, massive plus as far as we're concerned.
And speaking of plus, see what I did there?
You did. That was a
terrible link. Some people might have noticed that there's LGBT plus, there's LGBTQ, but there's so many different acronyms now.
Let's just go through it a second, all right? Where did we start?
Well, first there was LGB,
right,
lesbian, gay and bi, and then there was LGBT with the trans movement.
Yeah.
Then we had LGBTQ, which still seems to be used, and then we had the plus added, so it can be LGBT plus or LGBTQ plus. Then suddenly we had LGBTQIAP.
I'm running out of room on the.
I know, and then it turned into just a big alphabet soup. And recently I've seen quilt bag.
Go on. What's a quilt bag?
Quilt bag was meant to be a short way of providing the community with an acronym which covered queer, unidentified, intersex, lesbian, trans, bi, asexual and gay. So that was fine until the pansexual community realised that there was no P in quilt bag. So that quietly seemed to disappear. So the question now for a lot of people is why, when will it stop? When will we have no more acronyms available? And I think we always will. And the common one seems to be LGBT or LGBT plus, and we're all about the plus. So because there's so many, there's literally hundreds of different identities, it can seem quite confusing and ultimately quite overwhelming to people in the community and those outside. So what we are trying to do is we're trying to promote the idea that obviously we're in this together and we can learn from each other about all our different identities.
So aside from that, what we'd also like to do is we want you to get involved with what we're trying to do. We want to hear from you. We want to hear your stories, your experiences, anything that you feel that you would like the rest of the community to know and you want to share with us, or even if you just want to ask for some advice or some signposting, anything like that, we would love you to get involved with us.
So we ideally would love to interview you. If you're not comfortable using your own name, we can obviously use a pseudonym or not even mention it if you prefer. And we can digitally alter your voice, although that might sound a bit odd. So if you don't mind using your voice, that's also fine. Possibly, I could do that. So yeah, you don't worry if you want to just email us and write to us what you'd like us to say about, read out what you said. That's also fine. The important thing is we want to know what your identity means to you and what you'd like other people to know more about. Because obviously, if you're part of a community already, we'd like you to have a little bit more of a voice in that community for your own identity.
Brilliant. So I suppose it's easier to find out how you can contact us. Now, we've got loads of different ways and means of getting in touch with us, but we also love to meet you face to face. So if you do hear or see us at any of the Pride events that you're going to locally, then come and track us down. Now, the easiest way to point us out or find us is to go onto our website, which is www.myumbrella.org.uk. Take a look around our website, have a look for our logo. All right, you'll see it on the banners that are out and about on all the different stalls that we've got. And if you come and approach us and want to get involved in the Under the Brolly podcast, you may very well be able to pick up our very, very limited edition Under the Brolly and MyUmbrella keyrings, badges, coasters, magnets that you may even be able to get for free if you're getting involved, and that's a little incentive for you to come and have a chat to us.
So you can also email us info@myumbrella.org.uk, and if you put in the subject line Under the Brolly, or if you want to be all abbreviated, you could use UTB. So Under the Brolly or UTB. We are also on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram, so you just search for MyUmbrella, and if you'd like to connect to us using the hashtag Under the Brolly, then you're welcome to. But yeah, we'd love to hear from you, and I think as of the summer, obviously we're going to be getting involved with a lot of prides, but between then and now, you're more than welcome to get in touch, and we'd love to feature some obscure, unusual, interesting people at the end of the day. So, and that includes you. So until next time, in February.
Wow.
That's it for today, isn't it?
We've got 4 weeks.
We have. Well, you've got 4 weeks, so get in touch and let us know.
Very much. Okay. Anyway, we'll see you then.
Bye.
Bye.